Hello! I love a good old-fashioned hike, and today was no exception. I always try and include Neolithic sites, stone structures, wind-torn crags, and interesting places nobody really thinks about even visiting. And today's walk has everything that includes the weather and a few unplanned stops. But if you're dressed for vacation, it doesn't matter what the weather brings. Well, on to the walk. I started off at Robin Hood's Inn, just outside of Baslow in Derbyshire. We walked up Birchin Edge, which is a wonderful scenic edge, which I highly recommend. You could say I diverted away from the edge to look at an old ring cairn. I found the spot, but I was quite disappointed. Let's have a look at the footage and see what you think, and enjoy the walk. As you walk further on the Birchin edges, you will arrive at an outcrop of millstone grit sandstones, which were laid down by a large river over 3 million years ago. The ground tilted, erosion took place, and water made the Derwent Valley, leaving the gritstone as a long line of cliffs overlooking the valley. 1957, a barrow was found in this area, and the lid of the cist had a design of rock art on which included 12 cups. Unfortunately, this has been lost in time. Cue the music. As you walk further along the edge, you come to a simple obelisk surmounted by a ball that Mr. John Brightman had commissioned. According to local legend, it was carved and erected by two local stonemasons, Samson Savage and George Harrington, who lived in Robin Hood, one of whom chiseled his initials into the base of a monument. I wonder if you can spot it. This monument was erected to honor Nelson's famous victory in 1805. Behind the monument are three large rocks or tors. Some quirk of geology left them standing when all the surrounding ground had eroded away. These natural features have been named the Three Ships and complement the monument by having carved onto them the names of three of Nelson's ships: Victory, Defiance, and Royal Sovereign. I'm heading down Birchin Edge to another plateau, which has more wonderful Neolithic features. So hang around a little and enjoy the scenery of this beautiful Derbyshire outcrop of rocks. As you walk further along the plateau, look to your right. A survey of the area was taken in the 1990s. Foundations of a barrow cemetery, clearance cairns and roundhouses were found. Unfortunately, the stone from any buildings or cairns might have been robbed to build the enclosure walls. One item, a cup and ring rock art piece, was preserved at the time of the clearance, and it is now located in Sheffield Museum. Using the drone gives a beautiful impression that the people who lived here were early agrarians, so sheep farming might have flourished here as it does today. If you look at some of the stones, they have been clearly inverted, more evidence of site clearance. The upland settlement illustrates well that the once improved area, with its cover of fine grasses, contrasts with the rough moorland vegetation. If you follow the path further towards the edge, you come to an impressive standing stone. This stone is thought to be late Neolithic, set in place around 2000 BC. Dr. Daniel Brown and researchers from Nottingham Trent University carried out a microtopography survey of the surface surrounding the monolith. Their findings indicate the presence of packing stones around the base of the monolith, evidence that was placed carefully in position. They have also carried out 3D modelling of illumination of a stone through the seasons, adapting for changes in the Earth's tilt over 4 millennia. It is worth noting this is a truly wonderful spiritual place. As you walk through the birch woodland and scrubby undergrowth of bracken, you will eventually come to a piece of cup and ring rock art. Having seen many ring art designs, I would consider this slab to be a complex carving. It was discovered in 1965. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, the carving became permanently exposed as the turf cover was removed too frequently to be sustainable. Noticeable erosion was taking place, a process quickened by a person unknown cleaning the stone of lichen using bleach in 1994. It was therefore decided to bury the stone in situ to aid its preservation, and a likeable fiberglass replica was placed on the surface as an experiment in conservation and public presentation. As you leave the rock art, continue on, and you will eventually come to meg walls. Archaeologists have concluded that this could have been part of a stock enclosure wall or form of monument. What we do know is that the bank wall is built of gritstone surface rubble. There is no constant architecture or technique used in the building of a bank, which suggests work was undertaken in phases. Certainly, a stock enclosure built of surface rubble would have been given some protection from the weather and also predators. Yet, looking at the stone wall a little further on, one could imagine part of the original enclosure wall might have been used as foundation stone. Since you have come this far, follow the dry stone wall down until you come to a sty and partially damaged wall. This expanse is Gardom's Edge, a prehistoric hill fort which has experienced archaeological investigation and excavation in recent decades. No archaeologist can determine the relationship of the roundhouses, stone circles, standing stones, and fill systems to the hill fort. However, after finding a partially chiseled out stone trough, the settlement might have made a conscious decision to stay for a duration of time. The Scarp Edge enclosure of Gardom's Edge is a multi-period site with one of the principal phases of activity on the site dating to the late Bronze Age or early Iron Age. The early phases of activity at Gardom's Edge are characterized by extensive late prehistoric field systems and house remains. A substantial amount of pottery was also recovered, similar to that recovered from Nam Tor and Fin Coop. If some of the field systems noted at Gardom's Edge are contemporary with the late Bronze Age to early Age occupation, then this may be indicative of arable agriculture, as some are positioned to take advantage of localized pockets of sandy soil that avoid clay-heavy areas. The natural gritstone escarpment would have played a part in defense of a hill fort. The absence of cairns near the northern circuit strongly suggests that the cairns provided the stone for the 19th century wall, and that the cairns predate the enclosure wall. It has been argued that the peatlands population on the whole was considerably reduced before Roman recolonization. Since the change of weather from sunshine to hail, we decided to walk down to the very start of Gardom's Edge. I had read about a wonderful pack-horse bridge and off an adventure again. This lovely bridge was built as part of the 1812 turnpike. It became redundant in 1824 and has remained unchanged ever since. It is certainly worth the walk to. The weather is certainly changeable today, and now the sun has its hat on. Hip 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 hooray! We are back at the hill fort, and it was great to have the whole edge to ourselves, apart from a couple of fell runners. You would think this is just another rocky plateau, where you go to look at the scenery and have a picnic. I marvel of a pre-glacier process of wind erosion, and feel the coarse gritstone as you connect with the landscape. Gardom's Edge is much more, as you can see with a drone. lots of evidence of quarrying in the area, as a rock was suitable for making millstones. Since we're heading back, we decided on walking the length and breadth of the edge, and we came upon what's commonly known as the Three Men. There are two local stories about their origin. In the first, a father and two sons were travelling from Baslow towards Chesterfield in a howling blizzard and perished miserably on an exposed and bleak spot. In the other version, three clergymen from Yorkshire returned home from a funeral in Eyam in 1740. The weather deteriorated into a blizzard and they got lost. Two died and the third was still alive when found the next morning. Versions of the story vary. Either way, it is said that the cairns were erected in their memory. Equally interesting is the platform on which they were built. It is a round barrow dating to the late Neolithic or early Bronze Age. Most of the original barrow has disappeared, but if you look closely, you can see a slight raise around the cairns. These barrows were large structures used for burials, but they also had a symbolic purpose for the people living nearby. Its prominent position was intentional, and at its original height it would have been seen from miles around. To the right is a deeply incised hollow way, curving its way down. This is thought to be an original medieval route. Evidence of quarrying is found in the hollow way. Derbyshire is full of rocky crags, and Catstone's crag is no different. Many walkers pass by on the old medieval route, but I had to pay my respects to the kings of Robin Hood. This is an interesting outcrop of rock, prominent at the top of Megwall's Field. The name is interesting and probably very old, but there are no clues about its origin. Thanks for coming on this adventure with us. I hope we'll see you again.